Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Derek Riley and welcome to another episode of Power Hour, where we talk about all things electric vehicles here in Ireland, but also worldwide. We are streaming live on my LinkedIn page, on the YouTube channel, and also on Facebook. So wherever you're watching, let me know in the comments. Great to have everybody on here today. This will be pre-recorded so you can watch it back. If you haven't caught it live, it'll be on the YouTube channel. Over 120 videos there since we started last year. So lots of stuff going on since we went live last. There's got some issues with some LinkedIn for some reason. We're having trouble streaming with LinkedIn, and we'll keep trying and let you know when it's resolved. Okay. Thank you for that. So if you're watching live, let me know where you're watching from, on what platform. I assume it's not going to be on LinkedIn at this stage, so you're either going to be watching it on the YouTube channel or on Facebook. In the description we're going to be chatting about the Tesla Model Y opening up for orders here in Ireland and in the United Kingdom, the amazing EasyGo announcement, one of my channel partners, and their massive investment into putting more electric chargers into the ground here in Ireland, north and south. And also I've recently announced that I'm no longer working with my previous employer after 5 and a bit years of amazing experience there. And I'm going moving into the EV space, but we'll hopefully catch up on that before the end of the day. So since the last time we were chatting, we've done about 15 or 16 videos. And some of the ones that we've covered, and we've done some international traveling as well, which has been amazing. We did the Volvo XC40, and that was the P8, the dual motor, all-wheel drive, really fast, super torquey. Hi, Simon. Good to see you. Simon Acton from Next Eco Car. Simon just back from COP26, which happened as well, or is happening now. And Simon and Peter from the Irish EV Owners Association Committee were over there. I wish I could have gone, but I was just doing so much traveling with other stuff, with holidays and with also with some international launches. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to COP this year. So hopefully a lot of good stuff will come out of it. I know Simon made some great connections over there, and Peter, and meeting up with some people that we've been meeting online with. So it's nice to meet them in person. Just going back to the reviews that we did on the channel, we have had the Volvo XC40 recharge, which was really good. I did a coast to coast with the Citroen EC4. Didn't quite make it, and a lot of people afterwards were commenting saying should have put it into eco mode, and I've never really found eco mode to be giving me that much extra range, but I'll hold my hands up and I'll say I didn't do it. Sometimes when I do those coast to coast, you will get that people saying, oh, you did it in eco, you didn't go over 100 kilometers an hour, you didn't turn on the air heating, all this kind of stuff. So I tried to do it as normally as possible, but yeah, a lot of people have said that the Citroen and the Stellantis cars in general, if you put them in eco mode, they get a lot more range out of them. Then we did a review on the Mercedes-Benz e-Vito. Got some more Mercedes reviews coming very shortly as well. And that was a small light commercial vehicle, LCV. We did a couple of e-bike reviews, and that was the RKS RK3 Pro folding fat boy e-bike. I like doing those reviews just because it gives me more breadth to the channel, and it's not just about electric cars, it's about all the electrification of transport and mobility as a whole. Then it was the start of my international trips with BMW. I was lucky enough to fly over to Munich, and we were reviewing 2 BMWs at the time, and I was embargoed not to couldn't release them straight away. We've got Steve joining us via Boston. Great to see you, Steve. Thanks for joining in. We have some issues on the LinkedIn feed. StreamYard is telling me, but you're coming through us live and clear from YouTube. So thanks very much. Steve has Plug and Play EV, his own YouTube channel. Did some amazing trips there recently around Michigan, and I worked in Michigan back in 1999 coming into 2000. I worked on Mackinac Island, so excited to hear what's up next for you, Derek. Exciting times. Yeah, lots going on. I can talk about some of it today, Steve. I can't talk about all of it, but I really appreciate the support, and thanks for tuning in. But I was just saying, Steve, about your recent road trips around Michigan, and it reminded me because you went through Mackinac City, and that's where we got the ferry over to Mackinac Island. Going back to some of the reviews that we've had in the channel, the 2 BMWs. We were in Munich with BMW, and it was the iX, which is their flagship model, or their lighthouse model, as they like to call it, the SAV. sports activity vehicle. Some people don't like it, the look of it, but technology-wise, it's amazing. And we're going to see those on Irish roads soon. Then on the channel, we did a series of 3 videos about electrification of taxis. One was Joshi was his Model 3. And then we did the different types of electric taxis. Just picked 3, the MG ZS EV, the Kia e-Niro, and the Tesla Model 3. And then we talked to Paul with his Kia e-Niro and the grants that he did, and he charges it overnight. And he was spending €210 a week on diesel, and now he's topping up his electric taxi for like 20 quid a week or something like that. So it was great to work with Free now on that. Then went back to some EV electric bicycles, and it was the Bici Capace. I had to message them on LinkedIn to make sure I got the word right, or this pronunciation correctly, and that's an Italian long tail bike. So it looks like a regular bike, but it has just a bit of a longer saddle at the back of the saddle, if that makes sense, and you can put either cargo in it or you can put a couple of kids into it. So that was the Bici Capace E Just Long. Then I'd started a new series called Meet the Owner, and that was Roger. And congratulations, Roger, just after having a baby. Well, Emma did. So congratulations on that. But Roger was talking about his experience of buying a Kia e-Niro. And that has nearly 2,500 views. And I have a lot of people reaching out to me offering to be on that series of EV drivers. So then we were back to the second BMW that we launched. So make sure if you're watching, leave a comment. Let me know who you're watching on and how it is coming through. It's either going to be Facebook or it's going to be YouTube, but where you're located in the world. So I know that Steve is based in Boston there. I think you're in Boston, Steve. I saw a picture up on social. You had a lovely XC40 actually on Instagram. So did you change from the Chevy Bolt, or was that just in the neighborhood at the time? Back to the BMW one, and we were then, on the second day of the trip, I was able to drive the BMW i4, the M50 version, the sports version, beautiful in that kind of a matte blue. Somebody commented on the video that the name of the blue is based out of, it's a Portuguese name of a place. Looking forward to testing the E40, the regular version of the i4. That was obviously the very sporty one, and that was amazing. That has a lot of views on the channel as well. Another BMW since the review. Then we had the iX3, not a ground up EV, but they say that when they were designing it, they were thinking about electric vehicles. Pleasantly surprised. Great size, good range, traditional BMW, looks like a regular. It was just in the neighborhood, but looked good outside our place. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I like it. Lovely. And if I remember correctly, it was kind of that, there's lovely muted colors with the Volvos, the XC40. We'll come back to Volvo in a bit. Then I had the Citroen Ami, little quadricycle, the worst weather. It was shocking. And there was another YouTuber got in before me and steamed the whole thing up. And so I was trying to see out left-hand drive, small, tiny little quadricycle. That was good crack. That should be coming to Ireland. They had it at the dealer conference, the Citroen Ireland dealer conference, and it 80% of the dealers in Ireland said that they'd be interested in stocking it, coming in potentially around the €10,000 market, just underneath it. We've got Brian coming in. Hi, Brian. Hello from North County Dublin. Just spotted the iX3 yesterday, so out and about in Dublin already. Yeah, I spotted it about 6 weeks ago, Brian. I was charging across the road from me here. There's an ESP eCars 50 kilowatt, and I didn't realize it was already in the market. I was like, oh, don't bloody plug-in hybrids, and that's, don't get me wrong, they're fine. But for some reason, it is, I didn't think it was a full electric BMW. I didn't realize they were on the market. It was dark. I couldn't really see what one it was. One owned and one on test drive. Black one could blend in well if it didn't have the blue highlights. The one I had didn't even have it was the blue body color, like a navy blue, and had black, but it didn't have any of the BMW i bits on it at all. So that review's on the channel. So yeah, good to see them out and about. So many more. Then we had the Tesla Model Y, and Tesla Ireland have a left-hand drive red one from the Netherlands. That's got a good reaction on the channel. And then I was over in Belgium with Volvo looking at their first ever fully electric ground-up EV only car called the C40, which is obviously the same as the XC40, except it has got a bit of a sloping roof line. And that was really good. Over with Volvo, was over there with Dermot Bannon and a couple of other motoring journalists. Dermot is a brand ambassador for the XC90. So it was nice to chat to him, and he was talking about the design of the Volvos, etc. And then my last video out during the week was the Mustang Mach-E, and that was my third trip since the last live that we did, and that was with Ford, and that was out to Croatia. And this is the GT version. Now, the unusual thing about it in Ireland is we haven't had the regular launch of the regular Mach-E for the press. They're in dealerships, but journalists haven't had access to review them, so that's coming up in a couple of weeks. But I was lucky enough to get out with Philip Nolan from the Irish Daily Mail, and we got to review the GT version. Beautiful. In the US, you have the GT and the GT Performance version, and so in the UK, in Europe, we just have the higher spec and we just call it the GT. So it's the exact same as the GT Performance version in the US. So it's got the MagneRide suspension, it has the higher torque, etc., etc. So it's the top of the line, even though we don't call it the GT Performance. So that was in Cyber Orange. So really nice. Steve is on to us. The diversity of models seems to be accelerating so quickly across the pond. So as I mentioned, Steve is originally from the United Kingdom, but now based in Boston. Few more here in the US this year, but we're still waiting for that tipping point. Yeah, so you're definitely getting more of them. And you also have stuff, Steve, that we don't have over here that we're very jealous about. So you've got the upcoming Ford F-150 Lightning. You have the Rivian, just launched, and lots of reviews come out on that. And looks to be of a size that we might get over here in Ireland, which would be great. Then you have others as well. Rivian, Cybertruck is only going to be North American as well. I don't think they're going to bring it to Europe, if then when they do. So yeah, it's I wouldn't mind doing a US road trip for American only variants that we can't get over here. So fingers crossed on that. So on the Tesla Y, it's been out a couple of years in the US and it's been a bestseller. A lot of people who would originally have bought the Model 3 are looking for more space. So it's just a higher, 7 centimeters higher, wider, longer Model 3. About 70-75% of the bits that are in a Model 3 are in the Model Y. It's just relaunched for pre-orders. So the comes in two variations, all-wheel drive only. We don't get the standard range, two-wheel drive. So we're only getting the long range and the performance, and they're coming in at the time when I did the recording anyway, it was coming around 69,000 euros for the long range, and then the performance was around 79,000 euros. I know a couple of people who have orders already in for them, and I made a prediction on that review that I think it's going to be the best-selling electric vehicle next year. It is going to be interesting. That's going to be the case. I might have jumped the gun a slight bit on it, but hi, Mark from Cork. Q4 e-tron ordered last week. Looking forward to the full review from Derek. Coming up very quickly, coming up very, very shortly, Mark. Thank you so much. Mark, let me know what color you went for and what trim, if you don't mind sharing with the viewers. The one that I said I was going to buy, if I had to spend my own cash, that would be the one I'd go for. And I was talking to somebody recently, was out for a pint, and he was like, oh, there's no, it's not sporty enough and it's just wallowy along. And I was like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I am absolutely vanilla down to the core. I don't need massive torque and massive performance. I'm just looking for something that's comfort, built for comfort, not for speed at this stage of my life. But yeah, let me know. Pedal Grey Sport 40. Lovely. Thank you, Mark. Beautiful. There is a EV meetup happening next Saturday with the Irish EV Owners Association. If you're in Ireland and you're not already aware of it, it's on Facebook group. You can become a paid member. There's now a paid member Slack section on their on the Slack channel. If you're a paid member, you can ask questions on there. Some people aren't on Facebook as well. It's about a fairly big Facebook group now at this stage. I think it's up around the 9,000 members. But they're having a meetup in Junction 14. So next Saturday at 1 o'clock. So if you're available and come around, all the details are there on their Facebook group. Had to keep it under the 60K. I hear you, Mark. I hear you. There is a thing where you don't get the governmental assistance or other associated benefits of spending more than that. I'm sure, Mark, you could spend a lot more than 60K if you wanted to spec it out. Beautiful car. I saw one. There was Colin Whelan had a meet up there a couple of weeks ago down in the middle of the country, and I when he put in the location, it Facebook auto-populated to Carlo, but it wasn't Carlo. The lads got a good kick out of that. But that day I was driving the MG ZS. Blake was there from my second channel that I run with Blake, called EV Platform, and Blake was there driving the Maxus eDeliver 9. Colin was there with his Tesla Model 3, and so was Thomas. And we had the Q4 e-tron, a local couple there. He had an e-Golf and she had a Q4 e-tron. So it was nice. There was a Nissan Leaf. There was a Renault Zoe. Siobhan from the Kilkenny People just happened to pass by, and she was on the way to the Borgosh Energy Theatre, and she's starting to do some electric car reviews. So it was great to meet her and chat to her about charging and living with an electric vehicle. So yeah, so the Tesla Model Y, I think, small enough with regards to the breadth of choices that you're going to have. So you're going to have a couple of different colors. Entry level is no extra charges, the white. Then you can have black, grey, or blue, and that's about a €1,200 option. And then the red is around 2,400 or 2,000. It's the highest. So if you see a red, so that's the most expensive color you can get. Then you get the choice of wheels, the 18-inch, which are the kind of a dark grey, and then 19-inch are silver in the standard range, or the performance. Sorry. So there's a couple of different wheel options, and then the performance that goes up even higher than size-wise, and different Uber turbines, if I remember correctly. And then interior color, dark or bright. Bright is more expensive. And so once you start adding them up, but there isn't that many. Color, wheels, interior, you can add a tow hitch. There isn't a 7-seat option at the moment. And in my review, I talked about how I thought that the seats were going to be rear-facing. No. I remembered an article from a couple of years ago when I just launched in the US, and I was... they were wondering how they were going to put the 7-seat options in it. And I remember seeing a picture of two guys sitting in the back with their feet and legs in the footwell, in the sub-trunk, well, and underneath the trunk or the boot. And that image stuck in my head, even though there's an Irish guy in San Francisco that has a Model Y that put up the review a couple of months ago of how good it was. And for some reason in the review, I just talked about rear-facing seats. The joys. There is the very man I was speaking about, Blake Boland. The Maxus eDeliver Live was brilliant. Probably got the most attention at the meetup, strangely. A great van, Maxus eDeliver 9. There is a combustion engine version of it, but even so, Blake had it, and there was a review going up soon, I think, Blake, isn't there, on the Best EV, another YouTube channel that Blake is involved with. So that's the eDeliver 9. Then they have a ground-up only electric version called the eDeliver 3. We don't see too many of them on Irish roads, but over in the UK, you see a lot of them. DPD have a big order with them, and some of the supermarkets have a lot of them as well for those home deliveries. So Maxus doing a lot. And at the recent commercial vehicle show, and I've got a video on the channel about that as well, they had all electric. I got to speak with Mark Barrett, general manager, about it, and Carl from Maxus was also on the Irish EV Summit recently. So we've got the meetup next Saturday for the Irish EV owners, if you're interested in that and in the area. And then we have the Sandyford Business District here in Dublin have an online innovation event over a couple of days. So there's going to be talking about different aspects. One of the aspects I'm going to be covering and I'm chairing is mobility. So that is on the Wednesday. And if you register for that, the event, Jack from Modmo, the e-bike company, he's Irish, but he's based out of Vietnam. There is a bike up for grabs. So if you attend any of the sessions, you're in the draw to win that Modmo. The Saigon is the name of the bike, and I've got a review on my channel about it. So yeah, the Model Y orders in the UK and Ireland. People in the US are like, why is everybody still going crazy about the Model Y? Because we hadn't had it. It landed in Germany and in Europe mid-August, went to Norway and became the #1 selling electric car in Norway this year so far, after about a month and a half, 2 months. So this shows you people want that Tesla Supercharger network. That's something that we have to talk about, is the Supercharger network and the opening up of it. I got a direct message on one of the social channels where somebody was trying to see if they could charge their Volkswagen ID4 on their Tesla Superchargers in Ireland. But to my knowledge, it's only in the Netherlands. They're trialing a couple of sites there. I think it's 10 different sites, but I'm sure there'll be a Tesla owner on here that'll put me straight. Usually Thomas is knocking around, but he drives a Tesla Model 3, but he would be well in. Or Paul from the Tesla Owners of Ireland Association, Irish Tesla owners. So yeah, they're opening up the Supercharger network. It's going to be via the Tesla app. It's going to be a slight premium on what Tesla drivers will pay, and I'm just trialing it to see. Obviously, the benefit of owning a Tesla is you have that Tesla Supercharger network. I did a video with John Murray where I visited the 5 Tesla Supercharger sites in Ireland, 2 on the M1, one northbound and one southbound. Then we've got one in Laois, one in Cork, and one in Tipperary. So there's going to be another 3 in Ireland that we know of. There's going to be one in Enfield, there's going to be one in Athenry, and there's going to be one at the Tesla store here in Sandyford in Dublin. So they're starting to get that rollout of coverage. I don't know if there's one in the north. If there's somebody from, usually Mark is on here from EV Owners in Northern Ireland, EV Association of Northern Ireland. So yeah, the Tesla Supercharger network. So that's going to be part of the whole Model Y attraction as well. But with that price point, maybe I was a bit eager on it when you see the likes of the Tesla Model 3, the Volkswagen ID3, the Volkswagen ID4. I think they're the best-selling electric vehicles so far at the moment in Ireland. So the Tesla, yeah, that's what I want to talk about first, the Tesla Model Y. Next thing I want to talk about was, as we're getting into the second third of the show, 10 sites, 17 prices. Oh yeah, here we go, Blake. Up around the 60 cent mark, and that's in the Netherlands. Right. If you're like, we complain about the Ionity network and the price of them, but I did the 1,000 kilometer challenge in an Opel Mokka-e with Stavros on his YouTube channel, and I just did Ionity backing up and down, and it was the bank holiday weekend that we did it. And Ionity is expensive for if you're not an Ionity member, as in part of the group that gets Ionity charging at a reduced price. But like towards the end of the afternoon, on the Friday afternoon, it was packed. People just want the charge and they'll pay for the charge. And if they're only doing the run once every couple of months, or and there are other YouTubers that say, oh, if you're on the Ionity network all the time, it's cheaper to run a diesel. But nobody's on the Ionity network all the time. People are leaving their house full and they're driving the couple of 100 kilometers all the time. So having it there when you need it and willing to pay for it is important as well. So that is the Tesla network, the Supercharger network opening up. So the second part is actually to do with a charging network, and I talked about it in the description about the recent announcement from EasyGo, one of my channel partners. EasyGo do domestic charging, they offer workplace charging, and they offer the network. So they have a network out and about. They've partnered with the likes of Aldi and Lidl, where they put in chargers for them. Some of them are complimentary, some of them are starting to be charged for. There's a DC charger in Bray. That is, they have a Starbucks charger in Kildare that you have to pay for. So they've got 15 million now to put in. They're hoping to put in 500 DC fast chargers, so between 50 kilowatts and 75 kilowatts. And before people get a bit crazy on the comment section, think about the car that you're driving and think about the capacity of that car and when it can take that level of charge, how big it is, etc. So it's phenomenal to see it. And they're not just going to put them in the Republic, they're going to put them in Northern Ireland as well. Cheaper with membership. Thank you, Steve. If I read correctly, break even was around 40 kilowatts. So it's quite similar to Electrify America membership in the US. Easily pays itself back on a road trip. Exactly. So if you're going to use it, it's phenomenal to have. I'd say they'll, if on busy, because I know in the US, Steve, that you have this situation on Labor Day weekend, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc., where there's a lot of Teslas moving around the country. There's a lot of queues for chargers, and I'd say that they won't allow non-Tesla drivers to potentially use the network at that stage. I can't see Tesla drivers being too happy about it, but it's another revenue stream for them, and that ongoing membership. Thank you, Quigley. It could be Aiden. 6542. And sorry, Aidan, for some reason the LinkedIn link isn't working today, and usually it is, but so I don't know why it's not working. Belfast store will be coming along in 2022. So thank you, Aidan, for that. So 500 chargers with EasyGo over the next couple of years. And I was talking to Chris from EasyGo. I spent some time with him there the weekend before last, and we were talking about strategy and where they're putting them, and looking for sites. So if you're based in Ireland, north or south, and you think you've got a location for an electric vehicle charger, whether that's destination, whether that's high traffic, high area, reach out to EasyGo, because they want to grow their network, number one, but they can work with you if you're a business operator, and it'll attract customers. You'll have people hanging around. I know when we were chatting at the Irish EV Summit about the Irish Forecourts Association, and people that hang around and are at a forecourt and are charging their car, they're spending more because they're spending more time there. They're buying coffees. They're having more substantial meals. They're having the meals there. They're having more spend at the till, just naturally, because you're spending that 30 or 40 minutes potentially to get you from 10 to 80%, or to get you enough to get you to the next level. Brian is back in. Thank you, Brian. Good thing on Tesla Network is that you can subscribe for a month at a time rather than annual only. Yeah, so it's kind of that 30-day rolling subscription, whether you want it. So you can just sign up when you need to. So smart, really smart. So it was great to see that announcement from EasyGo. Looking forward to seeing them going in the ground, and they're going to start announcing where they're putting these DC chargers, the 50. They're all, Colin doesn't like me getting this wrong. I usually say Triniton, which used to be a television or a type of Sony television. It's tritium. So they're all 50 kilowatt tritiums and 75 kilowatt tritiums as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing those 75 kilowatt units coming out. They're a lovely form factor as well. They're pretty similar to, and Chris Kelly from EasyGo was recently on UTV News, and one of the 75 kilowatt units was in the background there. So it was great to see it. And Chris said he was going to be on today, but he did say it was going to be via the LinkedIn share. So I'm not sure if he's made it over all the way to YouTube here. But if I remember correctly, on the news piece, Chris, it was there's a kind of an elasticated rope or string that keeps the cable off the ground and keeps it high up on the 75 kilowatt unit. And so, yeah, there's a couple of other players coming into the market in Ireland, be that manufacturers looking to start generating and start doing DC charging. There are a couple of electricity providers looking at doing it as well. But yeah, it's hard to get that network up and running. I was talking to Chris about potentially doing a round Ireland DC road trip like we did with myself and John Murray did with the Tesla Supercharger network, and hitting there's currently 8 DC chargers for EasyGo, and hitting that before they start growing it too big with all these 500, because we definitely won't be doing that in a day. But I recently saw that they painted the car parking spaces there in Loughrea, one of their chargers down there. I think it's at the Super Value, if I'm not mistaken. How are you, Blake? I saw prices for Fast Freshned ZS EV Orica coming out this week. Oh yeah, the refreshed. Sorry, I was like refreshed. And the Orica coming this week, 25-30k ish in the UK. Interested in your thoughts on how they'll sell. So I've seen the fully charged Electroheads and Johnny Smith reviews of the Orica, and the guy that they were interviewing on Johnny Smith's version, Ed Kelleher, definitely Irish. And that's been brought into the UK by Great Wall Motors. So they brought in an electric pickup truck, like 2014, I'm going to say. And that was not the Steed. I can't remember what it was called, but Great Wall Motors out of China. And so their sub-brand is called is Aura. And one of the cars that they have is the Aura Cat. It looked like it was great trim. Looks-wise, it's subjective. At the back, it looks very Mark or Gen 1 Nissan Leaf that Blake owns, the red one. That kind of shape, that silhouette. And then at the front, mix between a Mini, Porsche, a couple of different bits on there as well. So the Aura Cat, very interesting, and the trim levels seem to be really good and generous, and the entry level seem to be interesting. Looking forward to see if they're coming to Ireland. What we do know is definitely coming to Ireland, and the press release came out yesterday from MG Ireland, sorry, on Friday, and I shared it in a couple of Facebook groups, was the refreshed MG ZS EV, and myself and Blake did a piece on that on the EV platform YouTube channel, where we talk about the stats and the looks of it. That's nearly 10,000 views so far. That is that's going to be good. So it has a bigger battery, different battery sizes. So the bigger battery, if you wanted more range, it has the charging port is slightly off-centered now, and it's going to be more of a fully flush front. There isn't a grille, very much like the refreshed Kona. I probably still would go for the ZS, just in the sense of it's the one I know, and I like the higher seating position, as much as we all don't want more SUVs on the road. But I'm looking forward to trying out the Aura. I'm really. Do you think we may see the Aura here? Yeah, I think so. If they're going to be making right-hand drive, because I heard a rumor that we're getting Polestar. Like if they're making right-hand drives to the UK, why wouldn't you make an extra couple of hundred for Ireland? It's the same thing. I know you have to have a network is the only thing. So with Polestar, you could potentially tack it on to a couple of 1 or 2 Volvo dealerships, or have just a single store, because Polestar do their own thing in the UK. With Aura, it's going to open up to whoever wants to bring it into Ireland. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, it took a while for MG to come back into Ireland, but it came back in, and they're doing very, very well. Dermot, good evening. Mobile EV charging coming early next year also. How are you, Dermot? So yeah, Dermot is if you break down or you run out of charge, apologies, if you run out of charge for you or your feet, Dermot Hegarty is the man to look at, and there's more news coming the next year, so come on. Did you mention that e-cars are looking for overstay? Oh, yes. Thank you, Simon. So recently, ESB e-cars asked the Irish EV owners to run a survey on whether people will be happy with overstay time and charges for AC. So the street pillars, etc. And the ones that currently don't have any overstay fees or timed charge limits. So there is a fee on it for the amount of kilowatts that you use, but if you plug in your car and it tops up and you aren't considerate for other EV drivers, you can leave the car plugged in there. And I've seen some horrendous pictures online where somebody's there for 12 hours or 24 hours, where the car has topped up hours ago, but it's just blocking up everything. And the cable might be a model of car that you aren't able to release. And some of those units don't have an emergency stop, which is not the ideal solution either. And it's not the way you want to end a charge, or if a charge is ended, how to release the cable. So yeah, a lot of people are in favor of it. A lot of people are in favor of certain hours. A lot of people are in favor of certain amounts. And surprisingly, people just want the use of these chargers, and they're happy to penalize those that aren't considerate. So changes are coming. I know in Northern Ireland at the moment there isn't any fees, never mind charges, I don't think, for anything. And so you can see the disaster up there that unfortunately that the guys and girls up there have to try to find chargers, and if they find them, then somebody's charged at it's a destination charger at a railway station, and somebody's plugged in and gone off for the day, and there's no consequences for them not having any overstay fee or only overstay chargers, or an increasing fee of time that you're plugged in. So it's really interesting to see that coming back. I know that Kevin, the PRO of the Irish EV Owners Association, has shared that within the group. So that was definitely interesting, Simon, for the overstay fees on it. So yeah, it's going to be, and going back to Blake's and Brian's questions about the Aura Cash, then there's the GT version, which has a lot of like mad racing extras, like a big spoiler, and one of the section cutouts in the alloys is red, and it has red this and red that, but it's the exact same electric motor underneath. So it's interesting to see why. Well, it's GT styling, I suppose. It's very much like having the S-Line pack or the M pack on a BMW, or an S-Line on an Audi. So interesting to see if somebody, or why somebody would want to pay for extra to have the GT look. And so some people like it, some people don't. I think Johnny didn't like it. I can't remember what from Fully Charged. Also, Johnny, from Fully Charged, what he thought of it. I know Johnny Smith didn't like it, and then Electroheads. I can't remember what she thought of it as well. But yeah, so there's a couple of different trims, and that's going to be their Halo car, is what we're hearing. So as much as it's coming in around £25,000 in the United Kingdom, that'll be their top level trim. And you know that Elliott over with Fully Charged in China, they have a smaller little version, very similar to the Honda E in styling, and he reviewed that over there. So you'd assume that we may bring in a cheaper version as well. So these more inexpensive, and they're still £25,000 is not a cheap car, don't get me wrong. And Simon, as you know, if somebody wants to get into the electric car space, buying a secondhand might be the best option for them with regards to a Renault Zoe or a Nissan Leaf or whatever. You can buy secondhand, whatever your budget affords. But entry level coming into Ireland, if you're in Ireland and you're looking to get into electric vehicles, you're talking your MG5s estate, you're talking your MG ZS EV, you're talking your Renault Zoe. They're the price points that you're coming in. MG will be bringing in a B class, which is based on the MG3 at some stage, but that potentially will be Ireland's cheapest. Myself and Blake did a piece on the Dacia Spring Electric. Definitely coming to Ireland, but it's going to be 23, 24. So it's a long way down the line when you're looking at it. Jack Scarlett. Thank you, Colin. Hi, Colin. Sorry that the LinkedIn version didn't work. For some reason, the link didn't connect. I've got a little sign up here saying that it didn't happen. But thanks for coming over to the YouTube side of things. And Colin was saying that Jack, not Johnny. Jack Scarlett. Apologies, Jack. He was quite impressed with the GT version. I think he was impressed with the whole thing. Yeah, for sure. Oh yes, also times and fines for DC chargers coming in for ESB here in Ireland. So yeah, they're seeing that the usage and people potentially not understanding how to use it, and there is an overstay fee currently at the moment, but fines and time limits coming in for DC as well. So yes, Colin from Cam's EV, ex-Porsche designer, designed it. So that the front, I know that Johnny thought it looked very much like a Mini, but there is and Jack thought it looked like there was a Porsche design element to it. You can see that sloped headlight and that oval shaped. So yeah, ex-Porsche designer. I don't know what he was doing on the back. Did he take that day off and give it the job to somebody else, because it's not Porsche looking at the back for sure. But good to have you here. And recently met Colin, was over visiting Dublin from Cam's EVs, and we met for a cup of coffee, socially distanced outside. So it was all good. Now we have Noel coming in. When are we reviewing the Kia EV6? Very soon, Noel. Unfortunately, I was not available to get the press launch here in Ireland. That was last Tuesday week. There are a couple of reviews out there from other Irish YouTubers, but I am reviewing it week after next, I think. So it'll be in the next week or two that we'll be putting the review out. So looking forward to it, Noel. And thanks for asking. Where's the tan? Colin, there's no sunshine inside in the pubs in Gran Canaria. So I'm joking. This is a tan. What are you talking about? Says the vampire. Thank you. Thanks for asking as well. Where's the tan? So yeah, Aura Cat looks good. We've got the MG ZS. We've got the refreshed, the long range version of the MG5 as well. What else have we got coming down the line? Cupra, the Cupra Born. There are a couple of Irish journalists and YouTubers got to go to Barcelona when they reviewed it, but we've got the press launch of that this week as well in Ireland, left-hand drive version. But it's going to be March 2022, March next year before it launches. So that's just like a facelifted or adjusted Volkswagen ID3. Let me know in the comments whether you prefer the Cupra Born or the ID3. You're very welcome, Noel. Very welcome. What else have we got coming down the line? So we have the GTX Volkswagen ID4. That's coming soon as well. We're hopefully going to get that in Ireland before the end of the year, but it's going to be a 2022 car. Some people are interested in that because they want that all-wheel drive capability. and that towing capability as well. I found when I did the Volvo XC40, a lot of people were interested in whether it could tow or not. And you have that in the Nordic countries, whether it's towable, very similar to the Tesla Model Y, if it can have a tow hitch attached to it. So lots of stuff coming. We've got Mercedes EQS, if you're in the market for it. And then you got the EQE. I had somebody reach out to me asking me about when we're going to get that. Got a couple of announcements recently on Stavros's YouTube channel. He reviewed the recent Renault Trucks Ireland. They're launched there, and one of the trucks at the launch was a full battery electric truck. I saw something this week about DAF have something launched. Volvo have their electric trucks coming. Mercedes have their e-Actros. I know Matt Watson from CarWow, he recently did a bit of a review on that, where he was driving along on it, and there was somebody from Mercedes in the cab with him. So lots of heavier electric vehicles coming down the line. We've got the Higer Azure electric bus recently did the Compass Challenge, that they're calling it, and they did Dublin to Cork and had like 30 or 40% of battery left on that single decker. Northern Ireland just announced their first fully electric double decker. I'm not sure if they meant in Ireland, but definitely I don't know of any fully electric double decker in Ireland. So up in Northern Ireland, they have that just announced. I saw it yesterday or today. So lots of public transport. And at that recent EV summit, we were chatting about the transition for the National Transport Authority. Anne Graham was there. Thank you, Michael, for the question. Have I heard anything about BYS? I think it is BYD. Yeah. Looking at the keyboard, seeing if S is beside D, and it is. BYD, yeah. So we have it launched in Norway, obviously huge in China, and have their own proprietary blade system as well. BYD coming here. Thank you, Michael. The fact that it's coming into Norway, they've dropped their foot into Europe, and I know that once they get a good reaction in Norway. Now, the only issue we have with coming here is right-hand drive. And will they bother when there isn't that many markets around the world that have right-hand drive? UK is obviously huge, obviously ourselves, Malta, and other European markets. And they're the only right-hand drive in Europe, but you have your Japan, you have your other right-hand drive markets over in the Singapore. So it'd be interesting to see if we're going to get, if they want to bring them to the market. UK is obviously a big market, so if they're interested and coming up. But I haven't heard anything, Michael. I'm watching Norway closely, but to see what's coming on. Thank you very much. Any reviews coming of the Aura Cat or any Chinese EV? Yeah, so I've had a couple of different Chinese EVs. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your recent comment. I can't pronounce the name, but you were saying that you would love to support me on Patreon, but you can't because it's not in your country. And if you want to support the channel, there's a couple of different ways you can support the channel. If you're watching it live, you can send in a super chat on YouTube. You can send super stickers on YouTube. And then after the fact, in any of my videos, you can send in a super thanks just to kind of thank me for the video. Then there's Patreon and PayPal as well. So all the links are listed in all of the videos as to how you can support the channel. Have I reviewed any Chinese electric vehicles? So the Tesla Model Y was Chinese. The BMW iX3 was built in China. The Volvo is owned by a Chinese country, even though it's built in Ghent. So the Chinese-made ones, Tesla Model Y and BMW iX3, MG5 and ZS are all made in China as well. So there are a couple of Chinese ones here on the Irish market that people mightn't realize. Obviously, MG people may think that it's made in the United Kingdom, but it is made over in China and shipped over, pretty sure. So looking forward to seeing if the Aura Cat will come to Ireland. We don't know yet. Hard to find details online for them, but other Chinese as well. So we've got BYD, we've got Xpeng or Xiaopeng, however you know to pronounce it. We've got NIO, lots. SAIC, sorry, Maxus. They're going to be bringing in a people carrier version. I was at that commercial, that video that we talked about with at the commercial vehicle show when I was chatting to General Manager Mark Barrett for Maxus Harris. He was saying that they're bringing in, and that's going to be built on a modular platform as well for Maxus. So that was great to see as well. So yeah, plenty coming down the line. Thank you for the comment. Bjorn Nyland is reviewing the Maxus 7-seater MPV car currently. Could you see that coming here? Yeah, so Carl from Maxus was saying that it is coming in. Yeah, I definitely will. And if I know the team at Maxus, they'll be looking to get it in because they have the rights to all right-hand drive countries here in Europe. Harris seemed to be on doing van buses, so with Brian, yeah, it's definitely coming. They just have to get the homologation. Back, the Oracat has a good chance of reaching Ireland if it's made an appearance alone. Yeah, you'd assume so. Not always the case. Polestar still isn't available over here, even though it's based in the United. They have sales in the United Kingdom with right-hand drive, but fingers crossed we're going to be getting that at some stage. So yeah, lots coming down the line. What else is going on there? What other questions have you got out there, folks? We've got nearly 20 people watching live. Let me know where you're watching. If you haven't put in a comment already, you might be other YouTubers keeping an eye and see what I'm saying. Let's come on and say hello. But yeah, what else is happening? So coming up, we have the Cooper Born, as I mentioned. We're getting the press release this week. Q4 e-tron, getting a review of that this week. A couple of Mercedes as well. We've got the e-Vito Tour, so the passenger version. That's different to the EQV, which is a passenger-only version. And then I'm also getting a chance to review the EQC as well. So busy week coming up. And then EV6 the week after. And then we're starting to get into towards Christmas, so things start to slow down, but there are some cars coming out that we will get a chance to look at. And as well as that, some bikes as well. So there is a bike store here in Dún Laoghaire where I live. They've got some really nice retro looking e-bikes, so I'm going to have a look at that. I've passed my theory test for the motorcycle lessons. I know Brian Dowling was thinking about this as well. Brian, if you're still watching. And so I have just started the IBT. So the process in Ireland is you apply for your theory test, you go to a test center, you have to answer out of 40 questions. I think there is something like 900 or 1,200 questions, options, rules of the road. And then once you pass that theory test, you can then sit your IBT or initial basic training. With that initial basic training, then that gives you the opportunity. That's 18 hours, depending on the size of the bike that you want to ride. So I'm going for A class, just because some of the larger electric motorcycles like the Zeros and the Super Socos and the Egencia, they're all pretty much going to be around the A class. So the reason I'm taking my motorcycle lessons and test is so I want to review electric bikes on the channel. So I've done the classroom element of it. So I've done 5 hours of classroom training already. And so now I just have to do 13 hours of practical. So that's starting next weekend, 4 hours, and then another 4, and then a 5. And then I'll have my learner permit. And then I'll be able to do my full lessons, full test after 6 months. So really looking forward to that. Great coffee there. Yes, it was. Thank you, Colin. We had coffee at Dublin Loves Bikes. That was it's a different shop, Colin. There's about 2-3 different bike shops in Dún Laoghaire, so it wasn't actually that one. Brian is saying next year, waiting for storage space for the bike to come. See, I'm not planning on owning one. I'm just going to be reviewing them. That's what he says. Coming close to the year end, any plans for favorite EVs of the year? Some kind of annual? Yes, Steve, for sure. Best favorites of 2021. I keep thinking this is 2020. And what I'm the most looking forward to in 2022, for sure. Yeah, I will be doing that. The Genesis EV looks like, yeah, Colin, I don't think we're going to get that. We don't have the Genesis brand in Ireland at all. So for those that don't know, Genesis is the premium Hyundai Kia sister. And they have G6 EV. Somebody let me know in the comments. Interesting design is what I'll say. But I'm not sure if, definitely you're going to get it in the UK, but I don't know if we're going to get it over here. Brian, I'm still tempted to go for the retrospective Vespa conversion. Yeah, so I got a lot of my gear at Megabikes. And they have the franchise, or not the franchise, but they have the dealership for the Vespa, and they have the electric ones there. So I'm going to be chatting. I think it's Kieran is the owner, about doing some reviews there. But then there are some other dealers like Franklin's there in North County Dublin. They have the dealership for Zero. A good friend of mine, Cormac, from my old job. Cormac has the full license, and we went up there and had a chat with the guys up there already. So I'm looking forward to going back with, and hopefully I can do a bit of running as well on it. Chap based in Northern Ireland, based in London now, I think. Vespa conversion, very good. GV60, yeah. I knew there was an E, there was a V there somewhere. I knew there was a 6. GV60. I need to remember these model names. Are Tesla Superchargers more popular than the private company chargers in Ireland, numbers-wise? No, not at all. No, not at all. No. So there's 5 sites, and each site either has 6 or 8. So you'd have a maximum of 40, but some of them, I think maybe you probably have 36, 38 superchargers in Ireland. There's another one in a hotel down in Tralee. I think it's a single unit, maybe 2. So you'd have no more than 40 supercharger actual stalls in Ireland. But they're all on busy motorway routes, and they're all on places that you want to go around the country. So be interesting of that. Michael, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining in. I was talking to the salesman at my local Nissan dealership, who showed me a video of the new Aria launching in dealers. He was up at the country. Oh yeah, that's right. The Nissan launch was there recently. Told me it would be launched around 46,000, but not added to our price. Yeah, it's expensive. And they're bringing out a new Leaf, I believe, as well. As in a new car of that size at that price point, mid 30 to 35 kind of a price point. Whether they're going to call it the Leaf or not, it's going to be interesting, Michael. So the Aria, sorry, I keep forgetting about it, and I saw it at the Fully Charged show over in the UK when I was there in September, 2 months ago now, as we are now in November. So the Aria is going to be a big one. Blake is a huge fan of this, Blake Boland, because he is a Leaf driver, but also AC charging 22, Chadamo, beautiful looking as well, design wise. Just Nissan are a bit, come on, Nissan, you can do it. Simon, I have a full bike and truck car C license if you need a tester. Dangerous, Simon, dangerous. Category C, yes, sorry. Well, hello there, Derek. Thank you very much. Hello to you too. Terje. Apologies for butchering your name. Thank you for joining, and thanks for saying hello. Yeah, so the motorcycle license probably be the end of the year before I'm able to go on an L plate, and then depending on the dealership will dictate whether they'll allow me to ride it without the full license if I'm still on a learner permit. So really looking forward to that. The team over at in Ireland that have the new NIU mopeds and electric scooters, they are going to be, I've done 2 reviews on their smaller, because I can review stuff under 50 cc's equivalent at the moment, but I can't do their higher powered stuff, and that's a huge brand, absolutely massive. Fully Charged did some stuff there recently where Elliot in China went to their factory, and he compared it to the Tesla of 2 wheels, just the size and the scale and how many electric scooters and motorcycles that they're putting out. So it's great to see it, and it's a couple of Irish guys have got the franchise. A couple of Mayo people have the franchise for the Irish new NIU. I cannot think of the name of the company. Line E-Mobility, Lion. Met them a couple of years ago at the EV Summit in Crow Park, back before this YouTube channel started, but I was writing reviews for theeffect.net. Which car made you smile the most when you're driving, the Mach-E versus Model Y? Don't be biased. I really like the Mustang Mach-E GT. I don't have any connection with the regular one at the moment yet, but beautiful car. Very well put together and lovely. It had the Magnoride suspension, so it's magnetized suspension oil with metal particles inside it, and they can magnetize it to make it stiffer and make it more comfortable. Tesla Model Y, the one that I had, and I went up into the Dublin Mountains, and you can see the video when I start riding it. It's rough. And the suspension is tough, and I think a couple of other reviewers have said that about it as well. So yeah, I definitely I felt that the Mustang felt better to me on the roads that I was on, but I didn't ride both of them on the same roads. And the GT version has the MagneRide suspension, the regular version does not. So it's a hard one to call. Which one made me smile the most? And if you go back to my channel and look at the Audi e-tron GT, and I didn't realize it had launch control, and I did launch control in it, and you can see the reaction that I got. And I put out that little clip on social media, and that clip got viewed tens of thousands of times. The actual view didn't. That was only our first impressions as well, so I'm looking forward to getting the e-tron again. I really liked it. Porsche was beautiful as well, but I'm not about speed. As I said, the one I really liked at the time is the Q4 e-tron, so I'm getting that this week for the full week to test out. I'm looking forward to living with it. I only had it for an hour, and so yeah. Colin, what does everybody make of the Zip Charge launch this week at COP26? Now, does everybody know what the Zip Charge launch is this week at COP26? Fill us in, Colin. You've got 5 minutes. Better hurry up. Kenko, thank you very much. What's your opinion on the MG ZS EV 2022? Does not having the heat pump make such a difference? In the colder weather, you're going to understand. It's not going to be good to you. Unfortunately, is the heat pump an option, Kenko? Can you let me know? I know I got the press release and I just put it out and read through the whole thing, but I didn't realize that there wasn't a heat pump in it as standard. I like the looks of it, and I thought it was a great car, the regular one, when I reviewed it last year, and it's nearly a year since I reviewed it. I have to say, China is pumping out tons of good-looking cars. Absolutely, a lot of European influence, but also a lot of Chinese. They're proud of their own design heritage. I only wish they made the seats a bit bigger. They're a bit short, yeah. And some electric vehicles that they're coming out of China, they originally would have been combustion engine. I remember in the MG5, I felt that was very low. I'm 6'2", 187 centimeters, and I was very high up. And I know that tall with batteries in underneath, if you're a tall person, I know Jack Scarlett did the Zoe one there recently on Fully Charged, and when he put down the visor, he couldn't see out the windscreen at all. Oh yes, mobile charging solutions. Yeah, and Dermot, if he's potentially still watching, definitely a thing, Colin, that's going to make a lot of difference to a lot of people. Obviously, the RAC and Green Flag and the AA have recovery vehicles, but this is more about the ability of them going around charging you on street, or rather than you having the time to go off and spending 45 minutes or whatever sitting at a DC fast charging. So yeah, Zip Charge is going to be interesting. 4 kilowatt. Declan Jennings, thank you very much. I don't think I've seen it, or if it's an option for the heat pump. No, I don't think I have seen it if it's an option for the heat pump. Yeah, usually I didn't realize that there was no heat pump on the MG ZS EV. EV skateboards. I was sitting at dinner at the Volvo Belgium press launch, and I was talking to some of the Volvo people there, and they were joking with me that I hadn't reviewed an electric fire engine, or I hadn't reviewed an electric jet ski, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there's lots of stuff out there that I still haven't reviewed. Electric skateboards, yeah. My e-mobility, but personal mobility section, there's one wheels, there's unicycles, there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm going to have to get helmets and knee pads and elbow pads for it. So definitely looking forward to that. Folks, this is called the EV Power Hour, and we're getting close to that hour mark. One of the things I said I was going to talk about is my recent career change. I have left Indeed, where I was working very happily for nearly 5.5 years, and I am moving into the EV space full-time. As much as the EV Review Ireland YouTube channel takes up a lot of my time, it's not my full-time job, but I'm delighted to say that I'm going into the EV space. I wish I had more time to talk about it this afternoon, but there will be an announcement coming out soon on my LinkedIn profile and other social channels as to who I'm gone with. There's a lot of speculation out there. Some people think Tesla, some people think Rivian, some people think Free Now, because I've done so much work with them, but all will be revealed very quickly. Really excited about getting into the EV space permanently, as much as I hope I'm a huge advocate for it. Declan, we'll wrap up with a couple of questions. Has anybody had home charging tripping problems solved by dropping the maximum charge rate on their vehicle? I'm having issues with my Zappi or CBO tripping on my Hyundai Ioniq 28 kilowatt. Interesting, Declan. I know on the ID4 you could reduce the level of AC going into it, and maybe that's something that, but I know if you reach out to the Zappi, to My Energy, they're very proactive about sorting out issues. And so let me know if you've, and I know we're going to be wrapping up here now, let me know if you've reached out to them and put up a comment in the Irish EV Owners Association if you haven't done so already. But and because there's stuff happening all the time and software changing, EV charging providers, I'm sure their part is broken, and as well as yours. When stuff is tripping, you definitely don't want that. So sorry to hear that, but I know that the My Energy team and the Zappi team will definitely look after you. Thoughts about the new smaller Tesla coming? It's going to be a winner if they do it right, and I've seen some beautiful renders as to the Tesla Model 2 or whatever they're going to call it, but it's just going to be more and more people buying electric vehicles if that's the case. Again, the charging network, and hopefully, but at the moment they can't keep up the demand with Tesla Model 3, Model Ys. So fingers crossed Giga Berlin and Giga Texas will help with that, but like there's such a demand for Cybertrucks as well. It's going to be interesting, and we won't even talk about roadsters. I'm looking at getting, hi Luke, I'm looking at getting a Volkswagen E-Up 20, but can't get in Ireland. I have to get it through the Northern Ireland. Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't stock them for too long here in Ireland. There are a couple of Dublin, there was a guy at the Dublin EV owner meetups that had one. Interesting to see, but you don't see them around too often, and they're not available anymore. There is a Seat or a Skoda electric car. One of the Dublin dealerships have it. One of the other YouTube channels here in Ireland did a review on it. Luke, send me a message on socials afterwards and I'll send it through to you. We got your back. Thank you very much. Alona, excited for the new venture. Thank you so much. Folks, we're gone over the hour. I won't keep you any longer on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. Apologies that LinkedIn did not work. I'll have to root out to see what the technical difficulties were and the gremlins, but hopefully you've enjoyed the last hour of chin-wagging and chatting. Reviews coming this week. Keep an eye on the channel if you haven't already subscribed. My name has been Derek Riley, and remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks so much for watching.